I would like to introduce our next speakers, Edward McNair and Anna Valsami. They will be presenting around the NANOG 87 community meeting. Edward is the Executive Director of NANOG, and Anna is the Secretary of the NANOG Program Committee. With that said, welcome to the stage, Edward and Anna.
Good morning, everyone. So I want to talk a little bit about our diversity, equity, and inclusion program and committee that we're developing here at NANOG. Recently, or at this particular meeting, we didn't have a Woman in Tech session. And we believe that it's important that we engage all of our community into the things that we're doing as an organization. In many ways, we're only as strong as the weakest link that we have within this organization and our community. So the NANOG board has recently formed a DEI committee. And the purpose of that committee is to focus in and to create an environment where it increases inclusion and equity and diversity within our community. So this new committee, which we are, the board will be selecting people to be a part of that committee on tomorrow. I'm going to go over some of the responsibilities of them. And one of those responsibilities is ensuring that the Women in Tech program is given the proper attention that it deserves. So first is develop a strategic vision for NANOG's DEI initiatives for board approval. Determine the essential diversity and inclusion goals and actionable steps to achieve them. To help institutionalize policies that support DEI initiatives for our community. Evaluate the effectiveness and ongoing efforts and suggest how to improve them. To collaborate with existing NANOG committees to support their DEI initiatives, to support and manage women in tech programs, to identify and recruit diverse speakers for NANOG conferences and events, working with NANOG ombuds to incorporate their feedback and observations into the strategic direction and policies for board consideration. Cultivate and encourage diverse candidates to run for NANOG committees and board seats to ensure that all DEI efforts adhere to NANOG's code of conduct, and finally to provide quarterly reports regarding the DEI efforts to the board and to our community. Trying to focus on inclusion without actually putting into real efforts and actions will result in nothing. So this is a strong commitment that we have as an organization. This committee will form, and hopefully the situation of not having a Women in Tech section in a NANOG conference will be something that disappears, and that we will focus on inclusivity. That being said, I wanted to give some talks about some feedback on some of the development updates that we've been doing within the organization. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to Greg Newman. Greg Newman is our senior developer, and all of the developments that happen on the website, Greg is the person who's making that take place. And so we're really fortunate to have him as part of our organization. I'm going to go over some of the projects that we're working on, and as we reach into Anna, we'll speak. And then if you have any questions for Greg, myself, or Anna, we could be able to do that in the closing part of the session. So UI updates. We've gone through and we've made some UI updates to our website. I'm sure if you've registered for this event, you're aware of what those updates are. We're trying an effort to make our site much more accessible, easier to navigate, easier to get around, and just kind of more visually pleasing. We've also incorporated a new section called Feature Stories. It incorporates directly into our blog system. We actively create content. Part of our goal is to keep our community informed, to try to create a stronger community, and part of these efforts in the feature stories are designed to do just that thing. Program tool updates. We've gone through extensive reimagining of our program tool. The program tool is very core and essential to what NANOG does as an organization, because the program is key to everything that we do. Here's an example of the new dashboard that's available for the program committee tool. Here is the view when you're looking at it kind of from talk view. You'll notice it says those pending, submitted, accepted, deferred. The users have the ability to click on those icons and to compress or to expand so they can kind of focus on things. A nice search feature to be able to find things. This is a unified effort between Greg, Valerie, who's a program director for NANOG, and for the PC leadership and PC staff. Volunteers to be able to pull this tool off. This is a particular part that I'm really excited about. To create the agenda for these events was a laborious process. It took hours to make it happen. This tool, what happens now, any talks that have not been scheduled appear on the right-hand side. And they drag the items directly into the calendar where they want them to be. They can move them around. They can expand them to increase time. They can actually go into the calendar feature and just drag and create a new talk or item within there. So the tool cuts down creating the agenda by a factor of 10-fold. The Meet Me tool, Alpha. Some of you guys have got a chance to play with our new tool for managing tables. One of the things that we've been asked for from our communities for people to be able to have ad hoc meetings and have space to do so. So in this particular event, NANOG 87, we created this tool, put it together in about, Greg created the tool, and put it together in about 2.5 weeks to be able to schedule tables. And pretty simple and straightforward, pick a table, pick a date, dates appear, you can do multiple selection of time periods. And then on the summary on the far side, you would see what it is that you've booked things for. We've gotten feedback at the member meeting yesterday morning about the ability to book by the day. So we do listen to all the feedback that you give us, and we do take that into consideration, and we'll be exploring ways to expand this tool. As I mentioned before, it's an alpha. Ultimately, it will be incorporated into the appointment tool. Again, we're trying to provide more software, a better experience for our community. Our next development projects, we're going to be doing completion of the UI updates and enhancements. We're going to be making some extensive registration system updates. We're going to be creating a sponsor tool. This may not matter to a lot of you, but internally, putting the logos on the website, managing our sponsors, and the integration with our external kind of view into the world, our website, is kind of a laborious process. Greg will be creating a tool that will automate that process, make it a lot easier for staff. We're going to be implementing badge printing again. Hopefully, if not in June, it'll happen in the fall meeting. The appointment tool, which is in beta, will go into a full release. There'll be a virtual platform upgrades. We'll be doing interactive reporting for internal and also for some external purposes, enabling NOGs to use our event tools. And one thing that I forgot to mention that's on this list, we're also looking to, and if we can fit it into this year, hopefully we can, if not, it'll pull into the first of next year, and that's a NANOG knowledge base. We have an extensive library of talks. We have videos that span for, gosh, well over a decade, and having a central tool where anyone can go to and they can, I want to do a search for optics. It'll show any talks that have taken place on optics, the slide presentations that they have, and a link to the YouTube video. So we're continually working to improve and to create better tools and resources for our community to create better cohesion. That said, I'll turn it over to Anna. Green button.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Excellent. Good. My name is Anna Valsami. I'm the secretary of the program committee, and I'm going to give you some updates, things we've been working on. So I hope you are enjoying the program so far. It has been actually quite a busy event for us. We have submitted talks, because I will walk you through what stages the talks are in. We had 58 talks submitted for this NANOG. It was actually 15 less than the previous one. There is a reason for that. We do find that some locations, West Coast, Hollywood, San Francisco, right? Some locations are busier than others. There's a lot more density when it comes to presentations, technical presentations submitted. We had 58 submitted. When a talk comes in, it is in pending state. So we also had more talks that remained in pending state. And they remain in pending state because they don't have slides. There's just an abstract. We just review it, and then the speaker disappears, never updates the talk. So they remain in pending until they are declined. So from the 58 talks that we had submitted with slides that we reviewed and we voted on, we accepted 33. That's 7 more than the previous NANOG, and that's because we had the addition of the new breakout room. We have the budget again for the extra room, which is fantastic news. Come on. Excellent. We are already working on the NANOG 88. That's going to be in Seattle. As you know, for the last few NANOGs, we started accepting early submissions of the talks. And that is working perfectly for us. It means that we have enough talks in the queue to start reviewing content that we can present. It also means that the earlier you submit, the earlier we can accept. And it also means that the earlier the agenda can be produced. So we already have 15 talks in. We have already one accepted talk. It was a talk that was supposed to be presented in this one, this NANOG 87, because of timing reasons. The speaker asked us to move it to the next one. The call for papers is open. Please continue submitting if you have ideas that you want to present. And like I said, you don't have to stick to this NANOG or the next NANOG. You can also submit for a later one. So at the beginning of every year, we have what we call our strategy meeting. And as much as I would like it to be a meeting, around the fire with a beer in our hand and, a marshmallow on a stick, unfortunately, it's just a Zoom call, another one of those. And the things we discuss are mostly, we do a review of what happened in the year before and what are our plans for the next year. So in this meeting, it took place a couple of weeks ago in January. The first thing that stands out is the data analysis. That was a project that started about 2 years ago. And in this project, we have collected all the data from all the previous NANOGs, whether it was slides, whether it was YouTube videos, whether it was attendance statistics. We have collected it all. It took almost 2 years, a bit over 2 years. This was actually one of our vice chair, Liz, one of your projects. Liz, just so that you know, I consider her to be an idea generator. I say it when she gets an idea in her head on our calls, her eyes will just light up. So this was one of your baby projects, which ended up to be a gigantic effort. I'm pretty sure halfway through the project, she must have regretted it because honestly, there was no end in sight. It was a gigantic effort. So that is completed. Thank you, Liz, for the idea. As Edward mentioned, we have a brand new PC tool, the program committee tool. This is where we see all the talks that you submit. This is where we vote. This is where we put our comments. We also have the agenda builder completed. This was a manual process. It was a massive, massive pain. This has now been completed. It's just a drag and drop. We can move things around. We also introduced in 2022 the remote moderators. While you are coming back into the conferences, there's still people attending remotely. So we still have the need to have moderators. We still have the need to provide support for them. And that was the idea behind the Q&A moderators. We improved the moderator scripts. And the moderator script is what? From the moment you come in on Monday morning to Wednesday afternoon, from the welcome to NANOG 87 to thank you very much, see you at NANOG 88. That's the script. That sounds very easy. Actually, I did it. It's over 6 to 8 hours work. It's a lot of work to do. So we improved that, and together with the data analysis that we completed, the information that we get from the speakers, how many times they have participated, how many times they have presented, that all goes into the script. It makes for a much more rich experience, let's say. We simplified the surveys to thumbs up, thumbs down, makes it a lot easier. And we also, like we say, give us feedback, submit the surveys. We take your feedback into consideration, and we make sure that it is included in the program, and we use it to improve it and grow it. So once we do the review at this strategy meeting, the next thing to do is, what do we do next? Okay, we've done the stuff that we promised you that we would do. What do we do next? So we have completed the data collection. So what do we do with it? How do we use it? How do we present it? What tools do we need? What kind of development do we need? So that's something that's going to be worked on in 2023. I think it's going to take a long time. There's a lot of work to be done. But it is something to look forward to. It is something that's going to be presented to you. It's going to be available to you to use, to get access to previous talks and other historical data. We are going to create a panel subcommittee. And the reason we're going to do that is because we see that we've had a few panels in the last few NANOGs, and they are much more engaging. There's a lot more ideas flowing rather than just seeing a single talk on a specific topic. The other thing we've been thinking about doing is to reach out to speakers from the older times. And the reason we want to do that is because sometimes we see that the talks that come in are the same speakers again and again. And some other speakers have moved on, they have changed jobs, maybe they have even left the industry. Now that we have all the data from all the previous NANOGs, we can see that in 2000, so-and-so did a talk in IPv6. The idea is to reach back and say, hey, have you done anything since then? Do you have an update? Have you been working on something else? It will be good to re-engage with those people that may not be participating actively anymore. Maybe they still have things to say. We still have to do some fine-tuning of the program committee tool, the dashboard that we showed you. There's still a few things to, like little tweaks here and there. So that needs to be done. And then the other thing we are thinking about is we would like to enhance the program with more talks that are not necessarily technical. We would like to have more talks on the career track, on soft skills. So these are all things to think about. We also want to revamp the moderator subcommittee. The moderators, like myself, like the rest of the program committee team, we're not professional public speakers, right? We have different levels of expertise and exposure to that. So we need to do a bit of work there if we want to have a more professional training. There are ideas floating about Toastmasters and so on. We'll see how that goes. Something to work on for 2023. We also have the program committee handbook. That's like a live manual. It's a live document. It pretty much describes the roles and the responsibilities and processes and charters and so on of the program committee. That we need to update this. There are things to add there, so that's also coming. And finally, like I said, the moderator scripts, it's a manual process. Somebody has to sit down and read it and copy, paste, add details, look at the data from attendance and so on. So important thing to work on this year, automate it. Try to cut down these 6, 8, 10 hours of work to as little as possible. So now, as you know, January and February was nominations time. NANOG relies a lot, mostly on volunteers. So the call for volunteers for the program committee was open. It opened in January and it ended yesterday. I hope you have put your name down. The new members will be announced once they have accepted their appointment. Currently, the program committee member has 25 members. Program committee has 25 members. There is a reason for that. You cannot have just one person having the expertise on everything, right? 25 people means that we all have our own domains of expertise and skill set. So all of them together comprise the program committee. I believe the available positions were 12. I may have a mistake there. The term limited members were 5. So there were at least 5 slots to be completed. Once the new program committee members come in, I will just give you a quick indication of what happens. They're going to buddy up with an existing member. And the reason we do that is because it is overwhelming to come in. You don't know what is expected of you. Just by reading the handbook, the program committee handbook, it's not enough. So we will buddy them up with somebody else, and then we will run elections, the elections for the new leadership team of the program committee, and then we will reshuffle the subcommittees. There are subcommittees on specific topics, keynotes, hackathon, diversity and inclusion, the moderator subcommittees, subcommittee. So we're going to reshuffle that. Some people want to change, some people want to join. They're going to have to do that. Once they are onboarded, they're going to be assigned talks, the talks that are coming and are in pending state. Once they get a talk, they become a shepherd or a content reviewer, and then they start working on this talk together with the speaker until we get to a point where it's on the stage. There is a responsibility to solicit talks, and of course there is a responsibility to review, comment, and vote, and of course moderate. Program committee members do have some responsibilities that they cannot avoid. They have to, like I said, recruit talks, they have to have some attendance at the NANOG events, they have to participate on the calls that we have. These are the current program committee members. I would like to invite them to stand. I think we owe them a round of applause for all the work they do. If you're here, please stand. Thank you. Thank you very much. The work you do is admirable. Thank you. One thing to always remember is that the program committee works for you. We go in every call, in every meeting that we have, thinking what is the next best thing we can do for the community? What can we do to make the next NANOG more exciting and more interesting? So thank you very much for your contribution. The last thing I wanted to bring up, is we do need a moment to celebrate, and obviously I care about this because I'm in the picture. This was the first time in the last 12 months that the program committee leadership team was all female. This has never happened before. So thank you very much. Thank you. As you know, our industry struggles from lack of diversity and lack of female participation. So having this kind of representation does matter. And I want to say, Kat and Liz, you are fantastic leaders. You are inspirational. You are a ball of energy. I'm really thankful that I had the opportunity to work with you. Thank you very much. Last but not least, I don't know if Val is here. She's the program director. She's usually hiding in the AV desk. She's not here. You don't see her. So without Val, we would not be able to breathe, honestly. She keeps us on track. She reels us back in, keeps us in check, keeps us honest. So that's the program committee in a nutshell. Thank you very much.
So are there any questions for any of us? How things are going, what you like, what you don't like? Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. Sorry, go right ahead.
There was a couple online questions. That were, one from Dan Megorium asks essentially the question of the breakout room sessions that were, I know they're recorded and people will be able to watch them eventually, but he was wondering if it might be possible, realizing there's an expense, that may make it difficult to have those webcasts live in the future.
It is definitely possible and something we will consider.
Okay. And another question, someone else with Mike. John Curran asks, and maybe I just answered this. It says, where can we watch the imposter syndrome video? I think that was one of the breakout session ones.
It was in here, and that will be within a week. Those will be up.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the program.